HTML and CSS are the web languages that used to design a web page. JavaScript is a programming language that allows you to implement complex features on a web page. So, to make a game in a web page, you have to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. In this video, we will know what you need to learn to make a game in the web page. First, what is exactly HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. We all know that, but what does do exactly and how it works? The definition of HTML according MDN Web Docs, one of the most powerful websites to learn from if you are a front-end developer, says that HTML is the most basic building block of the web. It defines the meaning and structure of web content. Other technologies besides HTML are generally used to describe a web page's appearance or representation, CSS, or functionality and behavior, JavaScript. So HTML is the building block of a web page. Then, how these building blocks are manipulated in a web page? Well, that's possible because of CSS, the language that defines the properties of the building blocks. According to NDN Web Docs, CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. It allows you to create breathing look web pages. But how can you create a game with HTML and CSS? Actually, you can, but you can make just simple games. I mean really simple games. Why? Because HTML and CSS aren't programming languages. Most people call them scripting languages because they just define the building blocks of a web page, and with CSS you can change the properties of them. But is there something to make the web page work with programming language? The answer is yes. There is a programming language that works with HTML and CSS to make the web page more dynamic and responsive. That is JavaScript. According to MDN, JavaScript is a scripting language or programming language that allows you to implement complex features on web pages. Every time a web page does more than just sit there and display static information for you to look at. Displaying timely content updates, interactive maps, animated 2D and 3D graphics, scrolling videos, etc. You can bet that JavaScript is probably involved. It is the third layer of the layer cake of standard web technologies, two of which HTML and CSS. So, to make a game in a web page, you have to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. If you already learned the basics of programming, JavaScript will not take a lot of time to learn it because it's a programming language. But what about HTML and CSS? Are they easy to learn? Yes, they are easy to learn. And if you know nothing about the basics of programming, still you can learn them easily because they are scripting language. So when you develop in a web page, you will see exactly what you are typing in the code editor. Of course, if you want to develop yourself in front-end development, you have to learn JavaScript. If you learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you will be able to make a web page from scratch. But you can't control the data and behind the scenes of a web page because that is the business of a back-end developer. Summary: to make a game in the web page, you have to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, or you can make the game in the game engine you work on. And when you finish, you can export it as an HTML5 file. Type in the comment section what do you think about this video. And on the way, click the like button. If you are a beginner game developer, here is some fantastic free tools you can start with. And as always, until then, keep it simple.